Hi guys, it's Lydia. Welcome back to my channel, Lid's Lunacy. Today we're here for another episode of Creepy Crochet, a series where I crochet something creepy and talk about something even creepier. So as you can see, recently I have crocheted Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, and today we're going to be doing Jason from Friday the 13th while I read you some scary stories off Reddit. Yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to say. Let's get right into the stories. I was feeling lost and alone, so I joined a knitting club. "Hi, honey," I said, glancing up from my knitting. The girls came over, if that's all right. Janine, Rachel, and Christine sat beside me, each making a doll of their own. My husband looked at us all with barely disguised contempt as he took off his work boots. "So, no football," he spat bitterly. "Is supper ready at least?" "Good to see you too, Dave," said Rachel over her knitting sarcastically. "In a bit," I said, leaning over to show him the doll I'd been making. "Look, it's you." He ignored me, disappearing upstairs to the bedroom without a word. "What did you ever see in him?" Janine asked. I wish I knew what to tell her. In truth, Dave was once my knight in shining armor, my soulmate, but the mask slowly fell away. He'd grown demanding, controlling, hateful. I'd never felt more alone before I met my new girlfriends. We called ourselves the Knitting Sisters, all young women learning new skills and overcoming trauma with thread. And Dave didn't like that much. The girls left with plans to meet again the following evening. I began making supper as Dave plodded back downstairs. I could feel another argument brewing. "I guess dinner is less important than arts and crafts," he spat. I turned from the stove to face him. "It's important to me," I said. "The girls help me heal." "Well," he growled, his jaw clenching. "Glad they make you so happy." "You certainly don't," I grumbled under my breath. One second I was stirring mashed potatoes. The next I was on the floor, my head ringing like a church bell. The bastard had actually hit me. He clutched my bleeding cheeks in his rough hand, his face inches from my own. "No more knitting sisters, got it?" he hissed. Dangerously. He left me shaking on the tile to go to the bathroom, and I texted my girls about the change of plans. When the next evening came, I was alone. Dave and I had eaten dinner in silence before he retreated to the living room. He didn't want to be disturbed, but I had a gift. "Honey," I said, "can I show you something?" "More dumb bullshit," he hissed from his recliner. I ignored the jab. "Janine wanted me to make something special," I said, showing him the raggedy doll in my hands. "So, I made a little you." "I don't care." Dave's words caught in his throat. He couldn't move. As a strange chanting filled the air, Janine, Rachel, and Christine emerged from their hiding places, their hands outstretched. And I began to unravel the doll. First went his arms, the flesh unspooling into crimson thread. Then came the legs, torn away like scraps of yarn. Last came the eyes, plucked from their stitching like buttons. As the final incantation faded, the room grew still. We all embraced. I felt a freedom I hadn't known in years. I had my new coven to thank for it. I thought my new boyfriend was a great catch, until I met his parents. "How can you eat that?" asked my date, gesturing towards his ribeye, "when you could have this?" I chuckled over my salad, spearing a cherry tomato with my fork. "Simple," I said. "Being vegan makes me better than you." He laughed too. It was my third date with Jeff, and we were beginning to get comfortable. As he flagged down a server for the check, I moved to pull my wallet from my purse. "You know me," he said, grinning. "Ladies don't pay." "How chivalrous," I said, sipping my wine. "Mama must be proud." "Actually," he replied, handing his card to the server, "I was wondering if you'd like to meet her." I let him put his arm around my waist as we walked to the car. "Dinner at my house next Saturday?" Later that night, I weighed my options in the shower. Jeff was a great guy, handsome, generous, friendly, but I had a secret I wasn't ready to share. All my life, I would see flashes, visions. At every meal, I could feel what my food felt. I learned early in life that the taste of gentle rains and summer breezes was preferable to the taste of factory farm despair, chickens grown so quickly their legs snap, cattle flailing in their own blood on killing room floors. I felt it all. But when I remembered the deep blue of Jeff's eyes, the way my waist bent like willow into his powerful arms, I knew my decision was final. As Jeff made dinner, I made awkward small talk with his parents. "How can you only eat plants?" asked Jeff's father, a wiry 65-year-old named Clyde with arms still knotted in muscle. "Clyde, dear," his wife gently chided. "I just don't like cruelty," I replied. "Nothing cruel about where my boy gets his meat," Clyde said proudly. "He's a hunter, like his daddy." I was glad when Jeff interrupted the interrogation to set the table. Tonight's fare was a plate of grilled sausage and onions. He'd prepared a salad for me. Dinner was going well, until Clyde spoke up. "Aren't you even gonna try it?" he asked. "It is good," Jeff's mother gently chimed in. "Mom, Dad, don't force her," Jeff began. "No, it's all right," I interjected. I didn't want to make a bad first impression. One moment of discomfort was a small price to pay. I took a tiny bite, and I gagged. I was running, being chased through the endless trees, but not on four legs. I felt a pair of rough hands pin me to the forest floor, my vision turning red as three merciless faces loomed above. Before I could speak, I felt Jeff's hand grip my hair. He began to drag me towards the basement stairs while his mother calmly cleared the table, his father smiling ear to ear. "She as fresh as you said?" Clyde asked. Jeff smiled as a gag was forced into my mouth. "Practically grass-fed." My husband hasn't spoken to me in months, so I decided to surprise him at dinner. "Hi, honey," I said, bustling over the stovetop. "How was your day?" He ignored me. He threw down his briefcase and got a beer from the fridge, the same as always. "Is dinner ready yet?" I pointed to the timer ticking on the kitchen counter. The meatloaf needed another 20 minutes. "I think the correct phrase is, 'What's cookin', good lookin'?'" I joked. "Look, I've had a long day," he sighed, draining his beer. "Just come get me when it's ready." "I will, honey. After dinner, I have a surprise for you." "Whatever." And with that, he retreated upstairs to play video games. Supper seemed to be all he cared about these days. So long as he was fed, he appeared to want nothing else to do with me. I tried to get him to talk to me. Something was clearly bothering him. He just wouldn't open up. But that was all right. Once dinner was ready, I hollered up the stairs that it was time to eat. The spread was immaculate. Roast cauliflower with lemongrass and shallot, jacket potatoes with garlic confit, and for the main course, a beautiful meatloaf, my own recipe, his favorite. I thought he might even notice. Instead, he simply began eating without even looking at his plate, his eyes glued to his phone. But that was all right. After 15 minutes of silence broken only by the sounds of chewing, I spoke up. "So, how's the meatloaf?" I asked. "Good," he grunted. "Curious about your surprise?" I asked, smiling. "Want a hint?" "What do you want from me, Rose?" he scoffed, plating another ketchup-y slice. "I didn't forget your birthday, did I?" His words stung, but I tried not to let it show. I'd been silently rehearsing what I was about to say for hours. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you," I said. "About the baby." He stopped chewing for a moment, his jaw set. He always wanted to be a father. But 6 months ago, I'd miscarried at 20 weeks. The doctors told me we shouldn't try again. "I told you before that I didn't want to talk about it." "But I do," I said. "She was my baby too." "If you can't give me a child," he said, popping the last of his meatloaf in his mouth, "then we have nothing more to talk about." Ow! He'd bitten down on something so hard he nearly cracked a tooth. As he gingerly pulled the thing from between his lips, he shuddered, unable to comprehend what he was seeing. "Is that?" he asked, softly. I nodded. "There's leftovers in the freezer if you're still hungry." A belly button ring, the kind his mistress wore. He clutched his mouth in horror, staring at me with more passion than he had in months. "Is this it, you crazy bitch? Is this the surprise?" "Of course not," I replied, pleased that I finally had his attention. She was pregnant. I did it. He's done. I sat down and did this all in one sitting. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed those stories. I hope you're sufficiently spooked. I hope you like how Jason turned out. You can buy either him, Freddy, or Leatherface. You can grab them on my Etsy, which will be linked in the description down below. Feel free to like this video to support the channel. Hit subscribe if you'd like to hear some more dark, disturbing, and dreadful stories like these ones we read today. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!